Hello, I'm Sandy, your sewing guru. In this class, I'm going to teach you how to stitch a blouse with 4 darts. Be sure to watch the previous class. You can find it in my channel, or I'm going to give you the link in the description box below this video. So let's get started. For this class, we are going to need the patterns we made in the previous class, the Saree blouse patterns with 4 darts that we made using the Basic Bodice patterns. You are going to need 1 meter of fabric, and now let's see how to stitch it. First, let's prepare our front pattern. For that, remember we have 2 types of darts, the designer darts and the tailor darts. The designer darts are the darts that end on the apex point, and we use them to make transformations of patterns. And the tailor darts are the darts that we are going to actually stitch on our garment. For that, we need to mark a distance in between the apex point and the point where we will start stitching the dart. So you have to mark them in the following way. From the apex point for the armhole dart, mark 5 centimeters. From the apex point to the side dart, mark 2.5 centimeters. For the central dart, 2.5 centimeters. And for the front dart, 2 centimeters. Now let's cut our blouse. I have here 1 meter of fabric, and I'm going to locate the lengthwise grain of the fabric. Is this side with all these threads here, that is the lengthwise grain of the fabric, and in that side, parallel to it, you have to put our patterns like this, vertically, like this line has to be parallel to the lengthwise grain of the fabric. So fold your fabric like this into layers, and we are going to need 2 pieces of the front pattern and 1 piece of the back pattern. So this is the back pattern, and I have the central line of it here. This side I'm going to put it on the folded side of my fabric like this. I'm going to set my fabric in this way to only use the amount of fabric I will need and don't waste any. I'm going to put my patterns in this way, and I'm going to, this one, it doesn't matter if it's heads down. The important thing is that is on the following the lengthwise grain of the fabric. Now secure everything with pins, and be sure to put enough pins on the curves so you will not fail when cutting the pieces. And the sleeve, I'm going to open it and cut obviously 2 pieces, setting my pattern here. I'm going to give 1 centimeter for stitches around all my pieces, 1 centimeter for all. You can leave as much as you need, ½ inch or as much as you want. And now in the bottom part, I'm going to cut 3 strips of fabric. They have to be 2 or 3 inch width. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now, if you're a beginner, it's useful if you mark the place where you are going to start to stitch. So fold the space for stitches and cut a small triangle here to make a mark. You have to do this in every corner of every of your pieces, so you will not change the size of your blouse by taking more of a space of stitches. Now here in the front side of the sleeve, we are going to make a mark also. And now let's stitch our blouse. Take your back piece, remove the pattern, open it, and from the wrong side of the fabric, put your pattern on it like this in one side, and we're going to mark the starting points of our dart. Remember to consider the space you left for stitches. Now to mark the upper point of my dart, just hold it there, remove the pattern and transfer the point. Do the same in the other side, like this. Mark the 3 points and also here the upper point of the dart, and trace them. It's like you are just transferring your darts. First transfer the central line, fold it in this way, and then transfer or trace the side line of the dart. Put some pins and stitch following the side line of the dart, like this. Do the same with the other dart, and your back piece is ready. Now these darts, you can press them, like iron them to one side. You can fold them to any side you want, but be sure to press them before stitch. For the front pattern, we are going to mark the tailor darts. Remember, we marked them in the last step to leave this space free around the apex point. Well, first remove your pattern, separate your pieces, and also on the wrong side of the fabric, put your pattern again and mark the points of your darts until the point of the tailor dart here. Now trace them. You can trace the 3 lines first. Do the same with all the darts. Fold them by the central line and stitch them like this. Don't forget to secure them with pins. And your front piece will look like this, and this from the right side. Do the same with the other one. Now put the back piece and the front pieces matching the right sides of the fabric, and we're going to stitch the shoulders and the sides of our blouse. Once you have them, you will get something like this, and this is the time to try your blouse. So wear it and overlap these 2 sides. Obviously wear our blouse close by 2 centimeters because we have 1 centimeter of stitches, like this. And if you need any adjustment, just locate the dart you need to adjust. In my case, if you see, my blouse is a little bit loose here on my ribs, so I am going to change the front darts. You locate the dart you need to adjust to make your blouse fit perfect. So what I'm going to do is just make my darts wider, stitch them wider, just by 5 millimeters, both of them, so the blouse will fit me perfect. For the bottom part of our blouse, we are going to use one of the strips of fabric we got. Put them like matching the right sides of the fabric together like this at the bottom of your blouse, and we are going to stitch taking the 1 centimeter we have for stitches. I am using black thread here to stitch my blouse so you can see well what I am doing in the video, but you be sure to use exactly the same color of fabric and thread. Once you have something like this, fold it to the wrong side of the blouse in this way, and you are going to press it. Well, you have 2 options. You can press it or you can stitch here on the border. If you decide to give this stitch, it's just like 1 millimeter away from the border on the bottom of our blouse. Once you have it, fold the strip of fabric in this way, and here you have 2 options. You have to stitch this border of the hem piece. So you can do it by hand with invisible stitch, or you can do it by machine, as I will do it here. With invisible stitch, obviously, the stitch will not be visible on the right side of the fabric. You will get this. And now we are going to finish the opening sides of our blouse. For that, I'm going to use another strip of fabric, and I'm going to put it like this, facing the right sides of the fabric, and I'm going to keep about 1 inch at the beginning and at the end. You can see here the strip of fabric is larger by 1 inch on the bottom, and here on the top I'm going to cut also, leaving 1 inch extra. Do the same with the other side, and now this we are going to stitch it in the same way we did the hem piece, exactly the same process, so we will get this. But for the left side, we are going to stitch it folding the strip of fabric by the middle because we need an extension. So for the right piece, we are going to fold the extremes in this way, and then fold the complete strip of fabric to the wrong side of the blouse and secure it with pins. Now here you can just press it well or pass a stitch here to 1 millimeter of the border. Now fold it by the middle in this way and stitch the border. You can do this by machine or also with invisible stitch by hand. Also stitch here and here on the extremes. For the left side, I'm going to fold the bottom part of the strap like this, the extra we have, and now fold the edge just a little bit and then fold it by the middle. Remember, you need to keep an extension of half of our strap of fabric. Secure it with pins. You need to get this, and we are going to stitch here in this border. On the right side of the blouse looks like this. So stitch this piece. Also you can do this by invisible stitch or by machine, and you will get this. Now this part I'm just going to cut it because I'm going to finish the neckline now. We are going to use bias binding to finish our neckline. I'm going to use this black one for time reasons, but I really recommend you to make your own bias binding using the same fabric for your blouse. If you don't know how to make it, I'm going to leave you the link in the description box below this video. Now match your bias binding tape in this way with the centimeter of stitch we have. We marked it before as you saw. Now open it and stitch by this fold line of the bias binding tape. Obviously, this stitch, it has to match with the centimeter of stitches we have. Cut the excess, leave 1 inch more. Now fold it in this way, like this, and then to the wrong side of the blouse, keeping it flat. And we are going to stitch the other side of the bias binding. Be careful with this step so your fabric will not get twisted on the way. If you need, make some cuts in the curves so you will not have any problem. If you have doubts with this step, I'm going to give you also a video in the description box below this video where you can learn everything about bias binding. Once your neckline is ready, we are going to prepare our sleeves. Remember, here we have the mark of the front part of the sleeve. Considering that, separate your pieces and give a simple hem. Well, I'm giving a simple hem because I'm going to attach a lace to the bottom part of my sleeves. I have both. Now I'm going to attach the lace, but you can decorate your blouse as you wish. Now close it with the right side inside and stitch the side of the sleeves like this. And now we are going to give a basting stitch in the all around my sleeve, starting here and going all around. This technique is perfect to match those patterns where the curve of the sleeve is larger than the armhole. That is not a mistake. Sometimes the patterns are thought like that, so you have to use this technique to stitch the sleeve on the armhole and it will be perfect. After a basting stitch, insert your sleeve inside of the armhole, considering the mark you have in your sleeve for the front part of the blouse, and match the shoulder with the top center of the sleeve and put a pin there. Now match the seam of the sleeve with the side seam of your blouse and put a pin there too. So basically we pin the top and the bottom of the sleeve first, then pull the basting stitch to match the size of the sleeve and the armhole and put pins like this. Keep the gathers even, and I promise your sleeve will not be gathered. It will be perfect, you will see. So put pins all around, helping you by pulling the basting stitch thread. And once you have it, now we are going to stitch, taking the centimeter for stitches we have. Do the same with the other sleeve too, obviously. And now I'm just going to attach a lace on the bottom of my blouse. Again, you can decorate your blouse as you want. I'm doing this because it's simple and for the tutorial purposes. So now I'm going to put the clasps of my blouse. These you have to stitch them by hand. And if you notice, I'm stitching them matching the very edge of my seam here and also here in the other side. And your blouse is ready. You see, it was easy to get a perfect fitted blouse. If you have any doubt or any comment, you can leave it here below this video, and also don't forget to check the description box below, because there you will have all the complements, videos, classes and information that you need to make this blouse. Thank you so much for watching me, for waiting for me, and happy stitches for everyone. See you the next class.